is an influencer? This is one of those questions which everybody asks, but maybe nobody has an answer, or maybe everybody has an answer, but they are all different ones. Welcome to ELI10, where we ask simple questions and we get you some big answers. And today, to answer this big question, what is an influencer, we have an absolute nerd with us. Shephali. Hi, Shephali. This is Shephali. She's a journalist come nerd, and also she follows the influencer economy really closely. Also, Shephali, I wanted to introduce you to Kajol Srinivasan. Hi, Kajol.
Hey, Shephali.
Hi. She is the union leader of spectators, right? Because
I like.
what we do on this podcast is we get people like Kajol in who have no idea you were coming.
Yeah.
Right, and have no idea what the topic was.
And the other way around.
And the other way around. And she is basically the human form of YouTube comments, if I may put it that way.
I've got to be nasty?
You can be. You can be whatever you want. That's the whole point. You can ask questions. You can be curious about different things. You can ask her about her work. You can do whatever. So wherever you feel you want to intervene and interject, or if you feel like I'm being stupid or she's being stupid or whatever else,
Okay.
you can be nasty as hell. You can be nice. I would prefer you be nice, but
You can also be nerdy. Hey, a lot of comments are nerdy comments.
absolutely.
As well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And she's an absolute nerd. That I know. I don't even need to add that.
I'm not.
Uh,
But
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Hey, are you implying nerd is a bad word? What is this like?
Okay.
Disapproval.
I worked a lot to stop being a nerd. Like, I was a nerd in my teenage years.
Yeah.
And then I worked really, really hard. And now I'm a nerd with
With a purpose.
with anger issues.
That's not helping you, Kajol.
Just to give you an example, she does a quiz every day on Twitter with like nerdy facts, right? So what is more nerd than that, right? But
That is true. Okay, I'm a nerd. I'm a
yeah,
nerd.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
But a
So,
cooler
hello.
one.
Yes. So
So this is a
Shephali.
union of nerds, basically.
Absolutely. So just to tell you about Shephali a bit more. So Shephali has been now obsessively following the creator economy.
Okay.
Right. And therefore I thought that it would be nice to have her here to talk us about some very basic things. Like, you are an aspirational influencer. And to some
He's just
extent you
insulting
are.
me like
Like,
one after the other. I'm not an aspirational influencer.
You are one.
And I am not
No.
obsessively following the creator economy. I have no choice. It's my job. I wish I were
Why
obsessed
are we
with
doing
it.
this,
I
guys?
know.
Why are we doing this?
I am existentially following the creator economy.
But you are a aspiring influencer. You do influency things, right?
No, I'm a comedian.
Right.
Okay, and that is all that I want to do.
Okay.
If people are giving me a lot of money to promote their biscuits and shit, I'll do that. But I do it out of shame. Like, there's shame. I'm not proud of it.
But that is where I will start actually, Shephali. Right. So there is some sort of things attached to this word influencer, right?
Yeah.
So first, if you can tell us what is an influencer according to you?
It's a good question,
Yeah.
first of all.
Thank you.
So I was on a podcast with Varun earlier, like a few weeks ago, where he mentioned how there used to be a Chintu in our household who would come and, you'd ask, beta Chintu dance karke dikhao uncle ko. And now these were Varun's words, and I think they made a lot of sense to me. He said that now that Chintu is also telling you which biscuit to eat, and
interesting.
which bath soap or shower gel, depending on which way you float, should you be using. And yeah, so now that Chintu, basically, I think in our offline world there used to be one person in the family जिनको बहुत मानते थे. They used to be like this thing. इनको मानते हैं घर में, परिवार में, इनकी चलती है. And then there used to be this character who was into theatrics, right? So party की जान, शादी की जान, birthday की जान. An influencer in the current, I think, the online realm is someone who marries these two.
Oh, interesting.
The person with the theatrics and the person who had the most, who was the most trusted in the
Okay,
family to sort of take the right decisions for you or to tell you, okay, this is what you should do.
And that is the definition maybe, but I don't think many influencers live up to it. Okay.
Huh.
Like, personally, I want to go back to the days when RJs weren't supposed to be good looking.
Right.
Because now, why do RJs have to go to the gym? Okay. I'm just saying.
Cyrus.
I'm just saying that why do we need a bunch of hot people telling me which biscuit to eat? And because all influencers are mostly hot.
Okay. No, of course they aren't.
They're not. Very few are like the common man. You know what I mean?
Sure. Okay,
So
I get it what you mean. Okay, go on.
I don't know. I'm just irritated with a whole lot of them. Okay, I
Ah.
want to go back to seeing ads on TV. I don't want someone telling me what I should eat, drink, wear,
Hmm.
and I don't want influencers in my life anymore.
You don't.
I don't.
But that is
That's a YouTube comment I will like.
well done, Kajol. Already, gathering all
It
the
will
likes.
show liked by author.
I'm-
Not entirely, but I guess I guess I get what she's saying
Hmm.
because in my life I've noticed, and that's why I'm always intrigued by who influences the influencers.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us make our decisions based on some very unpredictable things. Like for us, an influencer would be somebody with maybe 2 to 20 followers
Hmm.
who's put up a tweet saying that, just with my phone, right? Like I got this, what is it called?
Pop socket, yes.
I got this because somebody who's not an influencer just mentioned that they have finally got it and they had heard about how it creates like all sorts of like issues with our like carpal tunnel and all of that, the way we use the way we hold our phones without the pop socket. And I read that and I immediately bought it on Amazon. Like she didn't tell which brand, but because she's not an influencer, she's just an arm
Commenter.
a union part of this
leader
union
of spectators, yes.
yeah, and yet it just like for me that person in that moment was an influencer and she wasn't selling something, she was just telling us that this is something that has made my life easier.
If I like want to break this down a little further, then so is an influencer, because you guys both spoke about this, is an influencer a person who gets you to buy things? Or is that the only function of an influencer?
I think brands think that is something that they make it easier.
Okay.
No, but okay, I understand that some people, like I think Prajakta
Kohli.
Mostly
Kohli,
saying.
she came into focus as a makeup. She was trying out makeup products, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Initially?
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Long ago.
I'm saying if that's what you came into the market with, and you're promoting products with that, that's great. But if a comedian is telling me to buy licious chicken,
Sure.
then I'm not understanding the connect.
उसको अच्छा लगा होगा बोल दिया उसने.
No, but it's also so. According to what I see as an influencer does, as you said, I guess their singular job is to gain trust.
Yeah.
Of like a large amount of people, right? So that they can be more
either
likable.
it's trust or likeness.
Likable.
Yeah.
Likability.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's the
Be liked.
advertising agencies being lazy because now they want people to get their own audiences and come.
For sure, but then from the influencer's perspective, right? If you are a person who is on like say a reel or you're like doing posts or Instagram or even on Twitter for that example, one is you want a lot of people to follow you for a reason, and the reason being that you want to be trusted and you want to be liked.
Yeah.
Right, and on a very basic level.
I think
right?
all of us want to be trusted and most of us want to be liked.
Sure, but these guys are, as you say, the chintu who can dance.
Correct.
Right?
They
and
have the
they have
theatrics.
like the
They
confidence.
need to stop dancing, yeah, firstly. I'm just fed up. Whenever you look at them, they're all dancing. I don't need you dancing to sell me biscuits.
But they do, and dance reels are a thing.
I honestly feel for the creators on this one because I think not all of them really wanted to dance, but now that's because of algorithm platforms and a lot of other reasons. It's become the language for people to kind of
No,
disseminate.
as a person who's attended corporate shows and weddings, Indians always want to dance.
That's true.
They just want to dance.
This is
Yeah,
what
that's
runs.
also true.
But
So I think this is the manifestation. Now it's come alive on your mobiles as well.
No,
So
now it is a career option.
correct.
Earlier,
It
parents
is.
were like, you can't dance because you'll not make money that way.
Correct.
Now you'll make money.
Now
that
you'll
way.
make money. But that's what I was coming to, right? So, like, for example, you are the person who are confident, not you, but you're the person who is confident enough to do these dance reels, right? And is
I like
able
how
to
it's like
put
not
it
you
out.
because you don't dance.
I
Clearly,
dance, but I'm not
Shephali.
dancing on a reel.
Shephali, I haven't seen a single dance reel from you, so
Yeah,
please.
I haven't.
Neither from you, actually. So, yeah. But then step 2 would be that there is this large audience that you now have, and now you monetize it. This word,
Yes.
monetization,
Yes.
right? So can we also talk a little bit about what monetization means?
Yeah, so I think that's where your brands and your advertising comes into play, because a lot of us are like the Chintu and the one person in the family. They were not paid for being that, for for performing that role in the family of being the entertainer or of being the trusted person. Here, on the other hand, a content creator, I know your question is an influencer, but
Yes.
it all starts with a content
Sure.
creator, and some become influencers and some are still just content creators.
So can you also can you talk about that a little bit as well? Like
Yeah.
what is a content creator versus how do they become an influencer?
Correct. So like I said, right, the person through whom I was able to sort of who kind of helped me buy a pop socket is an
Right.
influencer, but she wasn't a content creator.
Ah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, which is why I actually, even when I write my stories, I'm very clear about how, in that universe, in the universe, the creator economy universe where I write about creators, everybody is a creator, not everybody is an influencer. And
Okay.
not everybody who is an influencer is a creator. I mean, the other way around as well.
Interesting.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
What do you consider yourself? Are you a creator more or an influencer?
I'm not an influencer. I think I'm a creator.
You're a creator.
Yeah.
But do you want to be an influencer?
I find the whole thing very preachy. Like you're telling people what to do and telling people how they should live. I mean, everyone wants influence.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, now I'll tell you something about myself. I can't act for shit. Okay, I'm a
Uh-huh.
terrible actress, but I get called for ad auditions,
Hmm.
and I get roles over actors
Hmm.
because I have a Twitter following.
Okay, got it.
And that is completely wrong. You should not be doing this.
Yeah.
Okay. What does it matter? Like all content creators these days, little kids come on podcasts and say like, I didn't want to be in the corporate rat race. I want to do something of my own. But you finally come down to figuring out how many likes and how many views you
Correct.
have, right?
Correct.
It's a metric.
Yeah, it is a metric. Yeah.
It's not a corporate rat race. Now it's a creator rat race.
Exactly.
But it is a rat race. And I think a lot of these people now do admit to that this is a full-time job.
Yes.
It's a 24/7 left brain plus right brain job. And it requires you to kind of do a lot of mehnat mashakkat. So that I think is something that, everybody is kind of aware of. But at the same time, obviously, this is a job which also gives them a lot more of love from regular folks like them and otherwise as well. Because now you have, if you'd look at Coffee with Karan, there are so many, in so many segments, you'd see these legit celebrities talking about the kind of content that they see.
Right.
They now interact with with these content creators. Somebody was telling me earlier today that the category A content creators are already fed up of doing a lot of these movie promotions with celebrities, because they've done it all. Like sabse mil gaye ab wo log.
Ah.
So
Think about it. You have Madhuri Dixit's show on Netflix, and then you need a content creator or an influencer to help promote that show. Have we reached there? That
That's
Madhuri
true.
Dixit needs an influencer.
I think this
to
is like word of mouth on steroids in that sense.
Right.
Because we were always like that, right? Like somebody who you think has good taste in certain things culturally, and then that person would tell you, I saw this, have you seen this? And then you're like, nahi dekhna hai abhi. Now this is somebody that you've been following, you like this person's content in whichever category. And if this person is telling you, oh, hey, by the way, have you done this? Or have you seen this? Or have you bought this? Or have you tried this? And then there are that many people who kind of think that, okay, this person knows what they're talking about because they've been kind of, trying a lot of these things. And maybe I will try because they tried, and I kind of have subconsciously started trusting this person because I enjoy their content.
It's interesting. So I get asked this question a lot, right? So again, I have a sizable Twitter following.
You
and,
do, yes.
And Instagram following. So like people ask me often which brands have approached you, right? About two till date. One is of course a hair product brand, which is a facial hair product brand. I won't name it because you don't sponsor us. पैसा दो, एड स्लॉट खुला है. स्टॉप द पॉडकास्ट, ऐड डालते हैं यहाँ पे. ओके.
This is good segue. Very smooth.
Hello, everybody. It's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On The Habit Coach, Ashton talks to Varun Dugirala, host of Advertising is Dead, on what motivated him to talk about and learn more about the effects of the mind. On Smarter with Sid, Siddharth talks about how to make meetings more productive. On This Round is on Me, Gauri is joined by Harshil Karia, founder of Shebang and co-founder of Level. He shares his perspective on balancing his work across various businesses. On the Musafir Stories, Keshav takes us on an amazing temple tour in northern Karnataka. He goes to Badami, Ehole and Patadakal amongst others. And on the Wire Talks, Siddharth dives deep into the birth of our national flag in his conversation with guest Arundhati Virmani, Indian historian and author. Once again, I'd like to remind you all, please do check out our merch. It's available on IVM Podcast website. Go click the shop tab and you'll be able to see our first collections of t-shirts. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, we got a bunch of YouTube channels as well. And if you want to check that out, go to our website, ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. We have a list of all those channels. And remember, do tell a friend if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter. Word of mouth is one of the most important and best ways for us to get the word out about this podcast. Also, it's a way for you to have discussions about a podcast with your friends. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Boat Lifestyle, Checkpoint Software, Small Case, and Intel vPro. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Hello and welcome back. If they didn't sponsor us, sorry, वो fail हो गया. So there is the hair product platform that also platform नहीं मतलब company that came to me and they were like, oh, product बेचो हमारे. I said पैसा whatever, but I was a journalist, so I was like also like a little doubtful whether I should ask for money or not. But they're like, no, we'll send you free product, right? And then it's up to you whether you want to promote it or not. I use the product. I still use the product actually. It's a very nice product.
So after this podcast, you're going to tell me which product it is because
Yeah.
now this is word of mouth for me. So you are the influencer in this case.
Exactly. But then I never posted about it.
Yeah.
Right. I never did that. I mean, I was like, I don't think it's okay for me to like sort of post it. The second was Mubi. Which came and because it was also a friends thing, etc. Everybody here got a free subscription, I guess. But they also like approached me. Again, no asks about whether you want to like talk about
What is Mubi?
Mubi is this very indie...
It's an indie Netflix.
It's an indie Netflix.
Okay.
That's a good way to put it, yes. So these are the only two that have come to me. Now, I was thinking, why don't brands come to me? Is there an answer to that?
You don't dance.
I am kind of...
Is that...
Both of us don't dance, but no, I was actually thinking नहीं ऐसे बोल रहा है दो तो नहीं मुझे दिन के दो आते हैं
Seriously? What? How?
She's prettier.
Also, but okay, but tell me more. Tell me
so
more.
basically the first I think मुझे तो कब से आ रहे हैं यार मतलब इस बार this year I had thought I'll start collating all of these and one day I will just put it all out there saying
Sure.
please bus karo.
Right.
So initially when I used to get these, this all started on Twitter DMs. People, and this is pre creator economy glorification, when creator economy was not hot, when Twitter used to be hot for creators.
Yeah.
So you had Twitter creators and Twitter pe hote the contests and all of that. I used to get these DMs and I would not respond to them because in my head I'm like, yeah, obviously this is not something that you should be approaching me with because I'm a journalist. My bio says I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
So by virtue of that, it's obvious that I will not do this.
Oh wait, are these people who are like, oh, you put out like certain amount of tweets and we'll pay you this much
So
money?
they would
type
be
thing?
like, I am handling so and so. So there are different kinds. One is like simple, I handle a lot of brands and I wanted to ask you, what's your rate card? Like how much do you charge
that
for
I
a
got
tweet?
as well. That I get as well.
That
yes.
even I get.
Yeah.
Then there will be specific for brands. They will mention this is the brand that I am representing and they are doing this and we would like you to do this. Are you game?
But is it a fit for you? Because I get asked like, we have some exercise clothing. We thought you'd be the right person to promote. And Cyrus fans love me because I'm chubby. Okay, I'm just saying it. They send me mails. I'm chubby. Okay, I'm not a fit for your exercise. So do they?
I think it's the whole universe. My problem with all of this is that when I tell them, like this year, in the last 12 months, I've actually started telling them, hey, I can't do this because I am a journalist. I want to put it out there that this is something that is inappropriate for you to ask a journalist.
Did you respond to them and tell them this?
Yeah. So once what happened was that I said, I'm a journalist and they said, yeah, I know.
Wow.
And then
That's...
I was like, okay,
You're like
maybe I should have said not all journalists.
You're like the doctor in that Colgate ad. Like they want you to be the journalist to show that a lot of research has gone into it.
Yeah, perhaps.
Oh, very interesting.
Yeah,
That's actually... So basically, they might be banking on your credibility that
Yeah.
way to sell a product.
See, if I were to become an Instagram journalist at some point, maybe then I will do something like this. But right now, it's something that I'm not comfortable with. So,
That's
which is
fair.
why, yeah. So,
That's fair.
Yeah.
Have you been approached by brands?
Of course.
Yeah.
I have done also a few. Okay, I'm not naming any brands because one has not paid me.
Neither are they advertising here. So, yeah.
No, they sent me a product which I made a reel out of, and I should have. The warning sign was when I asked how much what is the payment structure. They said you can sell it in Raddi and get $5,000. So no, I have been approached, but I do not take up stuff which I do not feel right promoting, like exercise wear or stuff which doesn't suit my persona as a comedian.
Right. Something that you wouldn't use personally?
Something which I wouldn't use. I'm totally game for chocolate promotions, chips.
Right.
Yeah, food items.
Something that you would use personally.
Something that I would eat on camera. I mean, I'll do it.
Right.
But I don't know why comedians are promoting underwear and.
yeah, but they wear underwear, maybe.
Maybe.
Listen, it was like some satin underwear. You've not met comedians and they don't wear that stuff.
I know which underwear you're talking about, and it's good.
There you go.
It's good.
You got
Comedian
influenced by
I've
that
been
comedian who
influenced.
asked you to.
I've
oh.
been influenced.
Okay.
But I'm, again, my thing is, I'm coming to exactly what I was saying, that influencers right now, as we figured out that they are gathering audience, then they are selling things to them, right?
Correct.
My question comes in, and I guess my ethical concerns also come in, where this part comes in. So you will eat chips, so you will promote chips, maybe you will consume the product also. Is it okay to sort of promote something that you're not personally using and cannot vouch for? And do you see those instances happening more and more?
I think if you'll ask this logically off of anyone, they would say that, yeah, I think ethically there is a dilemma here, right? If you've if you have not tried something, if you're not using it, and you're not even mentioning that to your audience, then clearly there is something, I mean, I don't know how to say,
Off about
something
it.
off about this, right?
No, I
Then
want to
he-
go back to the days. Someone sued, I think, Govinda for selling that thanda, cool air.
Yeah.
Why don't we sue influencers for selling us defective stuff?
It might or might not be defective.
I mean, whatever.
See, I think so. Yeah, so that's actually a very good point that you raised here. I think the regulations on this whole endorsement piece have really only recently started getting, to come into picture. So you have like government regulations now for celebrity endorsements, which ask them to be more responsible and do like their own due diligence before they sort of sign into something.
Sure.
Because in the past, celebrities have gotten into trouble for endorsing things.
Nazar Raksha Kavach and all that. You know that,
No,
right?
even FMCG brands, yeah, like in the like, मतलब जब हम जवां होते थे उस टाइम
जब हम जवां होते थे, हाँ. No, but like ठंडा cool type
I don't know
things.
about that, the brand or not. I know he got into trouble with some oil.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, like there are like many products that we see.
Yeah, but recently, in case of influencers, which is a financial influencers, they have actually been sort of pulled up for
Crypto?
for promoting like a particular crypto brand, which actually like went down, and now I think they're in the process of being acquired by somebody else.
Safe Moon.
And
What was the crypto that went down? I forget the
no,
name.
the company that I'm referring to at this point is Vault.
Okay, go.
Yeah, so in that, and I wrote about this, where
Right.
there were specific influencers who had been pulled up for this, and some of them actually came out and said that yes, we need to be more careful here on. So I think now there is conversation around more responsibility and more accountability, and hopefully there will be more content creators who will look into this side where they could be actually held accountable for endorsing something which they may or may not have tried. In this case, actually, a lot of these content creators had also invested money in this particular platform, and they lost, or their money was stuck as well. So that was something that they were very candid and honest about and put it out there.
You know, it's
Okay.
very this is actually very interesting territory. I mean, crypto, of course, is a bit of a weird gray area itself, where a lot of influencers are being used to sort of sell a particular crypto coin or make it popular or drive up the value. That is one part of it. The other part of it is actually gambling, which I think is a very fascinating aspect, which I think you have also written on a few times,
I have.
about the IPL dream teams and whatever the cricket dream teams that are being made. Someone had come to me with this story, and I had done like some investigation into it, where gambling is not allowed in India,
Okay.
right? Except in Goa and in Sikkim.
Gambling meaning even those old
And in
ladies
Dhoom
sitting in
movie.
a room and playing rummy with for money is not.
I mean, that is unregulated gambling. Let's put it that way. वो घर का gambling तो I
Okay.
don't think
दिवाली
can be
पार्टीज
regulated.
पे जो होता है वो क्या होता है?
That is gambling, but like organized
My
gambling.
mother's a rummy queen of the district, so I'm just asking. In
I
general.
hope she's not running a business out
No,
of
she's
it.
not
No,
in
so
business. I'm just saying, little old ladies sitting around in a group playing.
that's I think, I mean, anybody can do it, but my thing is like, so organized gambling, like you can't start a company which does gambling,
Okay.
right? So put it that way. So in Goa, casinos are allowed. In Sikkim also they are allowed, but otherwise it's not. So they found a loophole. So because technically what you're doing with all these Dream 11 app and whatever other big like cricket apps that are coming up, is you are creating like this fantasy team, and then if they win in a real game, then you get some money. That are some like conditions. 6 mara to ye milega, wo hua, whatever. So they found a loophole, and now they sell it as an online game. They call it an online
Oh.
game.
Okay.
Right. Because online gaming is allowed, gambling isn't, so they're not technically calling it betting or gambling, but it is technically betting and gambling.
Yes.
So you will get all these calls, you will get all these ads saying join join this online game, Teen Patti the online game. So there is like this giant debate going on where whether you need to define what gambling is better, right? Because now these are all being sold as online games. So because there is like this giant esports industry, which is like, Dota, competitive gaming, which is
Okay.
actually games, like which people actually compete with, they are being clubbed with this.
So I
Teen
guess,
Patti and all.
therefore, the question: do we need to define endorsement and endorser better?
Precisely.
There needs to be a clearer definition which tells you this is how much, because you also feel it, right? Like with some people, I mean, I'm trying to now think what could be a product that you would not be able to try on yourself before you are endorsing it.
Najar Raksha Kavach. or that
हो सकता है, हाँ,
there is
मतलब हो
this-
सकता है, मुझे तो नजर नहीं लगी, but किसी और को अगर लग गई नजर, then what do you do? So I
Yeah.
guess like I think so you're right. I think, and what should be the accountability of an endorser, be it a celebrity or
Yes.
an e-celebrity?
E-celebrity.
Yeah, I
huh.
think that needs to be more fine-tuned. Yeah, for sure. And I think it started to happen now. And I think, when you have instances like what happened with Bolt, it will sort of pave the way for, I guess, more sort of fine-tuning of these kind of regulations. There's no regulatory body at this
There
point.
is no
right?
regulatory body.
Yeah, so there's
and plus,
that.
but also like I think Instagram also now insists on having this paid promotion tags.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, paid partnerships.
Paid partnerships with other brands,
Yeah.
etc. And you can basically do that. But what if you don't do that?
Oh, ASCII put out like a list of people who apparently had not engaged with ASCII when they kind of told them that, okay, somebody has reached out saying that you have not put a disclosure label on so and so.
Right.
Perhaps this was a paid partnership, but you have not disclosed it as such. So ASCII actually put out a list of, I don't know, some 70 content creators who apparently had not cooperated.
Oh, interesting.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Has no one done any research on how much do influencers really sell? Like, suppose they're promoting a chocolate. Do you know how many sales actually happen after their reel has gone out?
Thanks, Kajol. My next story idea.
Someone has to do it.
YouTube
and throw those
comments.
frauds out.
YouTube comments are a mine of like story ideas. One has to sift through and like find like mine this gold. This is gold sitting right in front.
Yeah, because we need to get these frauds out. I'm just saying, compared to the amount advertising agencies spend on ads, TV ads, and how much they pay their influencers, because I know some influencers are paid exorbitantly for a reel.
Of course, they are.
Yeah.
Does it justify in terms of sales?
I would say it does. Okay, I think as an advertiser, I would look at it from a measurement metric, right? Because if you put an ad on TV, for example, right? So how will you count how many people they're reaching? TRPs, which is basically if a program has more TRP, then more advertisers will flock to it.
Correct.
Right? And therefore, there is an assumption that, say, because that is also based on a sample size, like, the TRPs are based on a sample size. So you multiply it, so like, say, 1 million people are watching this, probably, for like the 30 seconds, which counts as a TRP rating. So then you put an ad there. So then you're assuming that your eyeball count is like some 1 million. Here, though, when you are paying an influencer or a paid partnership, you get accurate data.
Correct.
But the sales records should be there, na? Like, suppose you've given it to a certain influencer, then in that month, if the sales pick up drastically, then you know that
But that's not always about sales. I would disagree when you say that it's always about selling.
But honestly, a lot of contracts do already have that, where your pay is kind of determined
linked
by
to,
how much you are able to get in terms of hits. So it also depends on the objective, right? If the brand's objective is reach, then you go by distribution. So, this person will give me these many impressions, and then you leave it at that. But if it's like if the call to action is specific, you also have like a lot of brands that are trying, you'll have this, okay, you can use this code and you'll get this much discount. So that will be the particular
the
creator's
tag.
code. And
Right.
so you know exactly how many people have come in
Precisely.
Yeah.
through this particular creator. And so that helps them again decide how to kind of, reward a particular creator. So a lot of these systems are now coming into place
Precisely.
because there is data at hand. It's actually become easier for people to decide how much money they can allocate to this. So,
Precisely
yeah.
that, right? So because, like for example, the reason
But I'm sorry,
why-
but the difficult part is to choose who all from the creator-verse to kind of
Yes.
collaborate with, because now there are that many, and a lot of like the mid rung is actually like expanded a lot. So you have a lot of options now, and a lot of people doing a similar kind of thing, a lot of people in the similar range of followers. And therefore, that is, I would think, more of a concern for a brand manager than
You know
the
what?
money
It's
part.
nice that you're mentioning that, because I find some brands do not match their product to the influencer.
Yeah.
I think,
what does that mean?
okay, so I saw an influencer doing a reel for Bacardi, I think. Okay. And Bacardi, from the TV ads of, the beautiful TV ads, classy, whatever. And then you have this guy who's like bringing it down to brass tacks. I wonder whether the people who follow him are the Bacardi drinkers.
That way.
Product
But then
creator
that
fit.
What?
Product creator fit.
Yeah.
Product creator fit. That's a term.
I have just created it, it seems.
Hi, Shephali being the nerdy genius that she is.
आ रहा है वो
like,
मेरे अंदर का nerd बाहर आ रहा है
Someone
अभी.
needs to do it.
product creator fit. Like we should copyright this. Okay, we should copyright this.
अभी जाके
But copyright करते हैं हम break लेके तो application file करेंगे. So please, we are taking a break. Stop the podcast.
Previously on Varta Lab. After 3 wonderful seasons, Akash and Naveen went their separate ways in search for glory, comedy, and comedy glory. But all they found is long transit time, bureaucracy, and upset stomachs. Now, after 3 years of collecting stories and hustling,
I can't mention. Bullies. There's no need to overact. Bullies.
Akash and Naveen are back at the lab
Let's do it.
with
Stories. We've got stories. They're a little bit of funny and a jukebox and talking roulette Warthog.
Okay, back with the podcast. Hello, friends. We are back. And I was coming to a very important factoid that I have collected. The creator economy in 2016 was apparently tagged at $1.7 billion in 2016.
Okay.
It went up to $6.5 billion in 2019, and right now in 2020 it went up to 9.7 billion, and it is estimated that by 2022, which is this year, no really surveys have been done, but it is estimated that it has gone up to $13 billion.
Okay.
This is globally, right?
It's globally.
Yeah.
It's incredible, right? So from 1.7 billion to 13 billion in about 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it just shows that maybe ad money is being completely redirected to now influencers and the economy that they have created.
True.
And also B, is it like really that effective? This whole creator economy or influencer economy, which you are looking at it. What you were also asking, right? How effective is it? And also one connected question would be that does the short attention span which comes with this kind of medium, does that also affect it, and does it make it less effective?
So, see, digital was a very small pie of your entire advertising budget 2-3 years ago. The share of digital marketing within your marketing budget has definitely gone up, and for others, obviously, it's come down. But we also have to understand that TV always had the lion's share,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? So that has come down, print has come down, and your other, media
Radio,
channels, radio,
etc.
and so on. And digital is the one that has been consistently sort of growing up. Within that, there is a huge share that performance marketing gets. So at this point, depending on which stage your brand is at and what your brand is about, you will invest in either performance marketing or influencer marketing or both, and within that you will decide what the breakup there would be.
Right.
I am not sure if influencer marketing is the only universe that is represented by digital advertising at this point, because
Okay.
I know that a lot of the businesses are run on performance marketing alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this performance marketing term that you use, what does that exactly mean?
So that means that you're basically sending all these pop-ups, right, to people. It's targeted marketing.
Okay.
So if
Like
I'm
Facebook को पैसा दे के जो करते हैं वो.
Facebook, the entire online universe. So if I am
Can I make a comment about Facebook promoted ads?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I normally use them to promote my shows. Okay.
Okay.
And it shows me it's got some massive amount of views and hits and all, and no one comes because of my show. But I'm just saying that how accurate is that entire audience that they're giving you? Because I've had people from Nagpur writing in saying show kahan hai or something like that, which had no relevance to a show in Andheri
Right.
in Mumbai. So how accurate is it?
I think I'm not an advertiser, thank God for that. But I guess the rule that everybody, I am assuming, follows is the 1% rule, right? Which is the rule that we have for everything that we put out on the internet. That 1% of our distribution base is going to engage with it. So
It's going to
even-
engage with it.
Yeah. So even for somebody, like I know somebody had approached me to start a newsletter, and the business model that they had presented was this, that, if X is your distribution base across platforms, 10% of that would subscribe.
Sure.
1% of that would be paying subscribers.
Sure.
And I'm guessing that there is some or the other method like that, percentage, ratio of that, which works for ads as well. So be it performance, be it influencer. So you're investing in something and you're expecting a percentage of that return to come to you.
Okay, so since
Okay.
this is ELI10, right, I'm going to explain to the audience in very simple terms how this works, right? So, say for example, there is a platform like Facebook, right? What they do is their whole and sole objective in life is to keep you on their platforms. And what do they do to keep you on their platforms? They create things like Reels. What do Reels do? Reels are there and they are designed to basically make you like scroll endlessly. until you find things that you like, right? And you will constantly find things that you like because the algorithm is working that way.
And because talent ka volcano also.
Absolutely. Like, there was a फटके आता है ना बाहर
Yeah.
like रोज. So now that you're on that platform, what happens is Kajol, who is promoting her ads for her show, are more likely to show up on your screen because you're spending more time on them, right? Which means the company that is selling her that ad, कि तुम हमारे यहाँ पे आके ऐड करो, they are able to show a metric which says that Kajol ka ad is showing on these
Also,
platforms.
Kajol is not just Kajol. Kajol is an entity जिसके पीछे काफी सारा statistic है जो back end पे चल रहा है. And so performance marketing also means that that entity kind of knows that you are not just your name. Basically, with you comes the language that you're comfortable with, the kind of brands that you're already buying, because Facebook to Google, everybody's keeping track of that. So they know your purchasing power. They know the kind of things that you're consuming and like based on your tastes and preferences that are, जो internet को सब पता है. So performance marketing is also that. It will basically give you pop-ups of things that you were thinking you want to buy at some
Precisely.
point.
So like an Amazon, right? Amazon is freakishly accurate at predicting what you want.
Okay.
I
Because
have
they're all
had this.
listening. Basically, your phone is listening.
I know, I get that. I get that
Yeah.
because, sometimes when you're talking about biscuits with your friend on WhatsApp,
Yeah.
and then suddenly you have ads on biscuits.
So
But
I
have
also
a friend who does this, okay? Like I have a friend who basically has also like done some research on how targeted marketing works, etc. And it's very, very interesting because sure, there is an element of data collection and listening,
yeah.
surveillance, let's not kid ourselves. But there is another thing which is I find very interesting, that they do this pattern recognition business, which is
Correct.
essentially if me, a 32-year-old male from Nagpur, Marathi speaking boy who is married, etc., they will have all these attributes, is doing a certain thing. They will find, say, an 80% attribute Meghnad, they will find a 30% attribute Meghnad, and then they will also see if they are replicating that behavior. So a 20% attribute Meghnad will get an ad for something that I was buying.
Okay.
Because they are more likely to buy that because of the attributes that are common, right? And it's freaky how that can happen because it is quite accurate, to be honest.
I had done this story recently where I spoke to people who game the algorithm. So they will purposely talk about things. Like I will purposely talk to you about certain things because I want to get ads, because I want to scope up the market.
Oh.
And then,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then some of these brands, what a lot of these people do is they will just like go browse and they'll put something in their cart and they'll just leave it there. So now the brand knows that there is intent for purchase.
Okay.
Then they will throw you discounts for that same thing. You will get
This is
pop-up
so
ads.
cool.
You'll get pop-up ads for the same item saying this is discount pe mil raha hai. And then you
this is
click on
nice.
that.
This is nice. I will fill up my cart right now.
Try and let me know how it works out. So a lot of people have been able to game the algorithm as well because they know that their phone is listening. In fact, like I think there was this TikTok where there's this woman, she's saying that this is the point of view of a woman who's on a date and the guy has just left and gone to the washroom, but his phone is there. So she's looking at that phone and then she goes, therapy for men. Female orgasms. So she starts like putting all of those, feeding those things and hoping that the guy would get ads about this and he'll get
Nice.
the hint.
Oh, that's fun. You were saying.
I have a question. Okay, let's coming back to influencers. If a brand is tying themselves to an influencer, isn't it a little dicey? Because now you got to watch what the influencer is doing with the rest of his life. Suppose he gets cancelled. Suppose
Interesting.
he gets arrested. Suppose he tells people to do drugs. I mean,
Gets a defamation case. Yes. Huh.
So then, isn't it a lot of work keeping track of their personal lives? I mean, if you're making an ad, you have actors, you have already designed everything, but it's not an individual. With influencers, it's an individual.
I think it's also a scale problem because, when it's a brand, a celebrity brand endorser, there's just one large celebrity and everybody is kind of talking about it. So even if something happens, you will get to know about it because it becomes a national issue. With creators, it's just so hard to keep track as well. I am told...
So you mean it's so decentralized that they don't need to care?
No,
It's
a lot
not
of
like
people.
that.
A lot of people are now caring for multiple reasons. One is that the influencer shelf life is limited in so many ways that they have to figure out, okay, this person that we collaborated with in this particular sales cycle, is this person still relevant for the
Interesting.
audience,
Okay.
or has this person's content been replaced by somebody else who's probably doing the same
Yeah.
thing but is fresh.
Okay,
मार्केट में
got
नया
it,
आया है,
got it,
like
got it.
same भाजी but नया बंदा बना रहा है अभी.
Mhm.
So that is one. And second, yes, for a lot of these people, because nobody wants to sort of get into controversies, they are kind of mindful of, or they should rather, they are told to be mindful of the quality of the content that people are putting out. But that's not, the second part is something that not a lot of people are doing yet. Because, like you said, right, it is so decentralized, it's hard to keep track. You as a brand are not directly interacting with or aren't even probably aware that a particular influencer has also been roped in to market my brand.
Right.
Your agency or your agency may have hired a digital agency and they may have hired like a roster of creators from
Right.
different. So it's also hard to keep track of these things.
That's true.
But like just to come to that point where so here's an element of censorship that comes in, right? So for example, I'm a creator who is talking politics, for example, which I do. Why am I saying example? I do.
Yeah.
So I'm talking politics, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I was thinking about this. Maybe one of the reasons why brands don't approach me at all is because I do that, right? Because nobody wants to.
No,
Go on.
I'm gonna argue with that
Sure.
because Munawar, who was in major controversy for
Right,
doing political
right.
career, does get brand deals.
Now he does.
So it's just you, Meghnad. You're just not
It's just
getting
you,
these,
Meghnad.
basically.
No, but Munawar Farooqi also went on Kangana Ranaut's Lockup.
Yeah,
which
the reality
was
show.
a reality show. I didn't.
No, but he
ever
was
go
getting
on.
brand deals even before that.
Did anyone ask you to go? They didn't even
No.
ask you to go for a reality show.
Sad.
Meghnad.
Sad.
It's
But
not him, it's you.
It's me, yeah. No, but I'm just coming to the point where I'm saying that anybody who talks about politics is kind of toxic now. Like you don't want to get into the whole deal where if this person says something and a troll attack happens, then if your brand is associated with that person, then it might get affected.
That would work probably in Kunal Kamra's case.
Yes.
Huh.
But that's what my point was, right? Where you said that the brand has to keep a watch on the sort of the creator of what they are doing, etc. But the brand to begin with would pick an influencer who is not controversial, na?
See,
Or
the
like
thing
safe, who is just dancing around.
See, I think here what we have to remember is that the brand is not doing the choosing and picking.
Okay,
The agency is doing the choosing and picking.
Manager,
Yeah.
digital agency. Okay, yeah, that is doing the choosing and picking. But isn't it that if you want to be, what I'm getting at is if you want to be an influencer who is also earning money from it, right? You have to play it safe. You have to do a lot of things that are appreciated by the algorithm
Correct.
so that you're promoted, which means that in a way it's also very difficult to stand out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
But also at this point, where it's at is that there is not a lot of quality check. There's a lot of quantity check on, and therefore the second part, which is the algorithm and how do you stay fresh and consistently relevant for your audience, which is also growing up as you grow older. So then a lot of people may like fresh content. Like the new janta may want to sort of, like the teenagers may want to sort of follow the content of another teenage content creator as opposed to somebody else who spent 10 years doing this but is now
Sure.
in a different zone altogether.
it.
So there are a lot of struggles basically here. But for an agency also, when they are looking at which are the influencers or content creators that we can get in for this particular brand campaign, the first thing that they look at is the engagement rate, not the quality of the content.
Of course.
Yeah.
And what you're saying is right. Nowadays, I find personally the entire market has focused on teenagers.
Okay.
Okay. You also have teenage content creators who are stars at the age of 16 or 15
Yeah.
or whatever. How responsible do you expect them to be?
Or
there
even
is this-
educated or aware. Honestly, for that matter.
I didn't want to say it, but
Yeah, but also there is this phenomenon. I was reading about this, I think in Vanity, which did an article on how these TikTok houses are showing up in
Correct.
Las,
But abhi to
Los
ho gaya.
Angeles,
That has
etc.
last season's this thing. Now most of them have kind of dismantled.
Itna jaldi anyway, let me tell you what I had read, which now she says doesn't exist. So there were these houses that people were buying in
Yeah.
Los Angeles and Bay Area,
Yeah.
which were called TikTok houses, where
Correct.
literally it
Creator
was like
mansions.
a creator mansion where people would stay there, they would create TikToks there, they would dance and create reels. They would be aware of all the latest trends which get you on the algorithm. It was like an academy also of
Yeah.
sorts, where people were giving exams to pass and get into that fraternity house or
Yeah.
whatever it was. That was a real estate boom during the pandemic, apparently. And now you are telling me they're dismantled.
अरे नेटफ्लिक्स ने शो बनाया था इस पे यार. They showed how one of these houses actually just fell
But
apart.
just one of them or all of them?
That was the most, I think, one of the most famous houses,
Okay.
and that kind of fell apart. And that, again, basically, that was one example to illustrate how these houses, they started with full pomp and glory, but eventually didn't kind of work out for several reasons.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But so, like, tell me, is there like because I see some of these influencers also becoming influencers, like Meta. I will make you an influencer.
Yeah, I think that's a natural progression because there is no sort of YouTube school here, right? This is something that people have not been formally taught. Although the tertiary things like editing or a lot of the other work that goes into putting somebody's content out, there are schools to teach you that.
Yeah.
But nobody kind of teaches you this part, the front of the camera part. And so these people have kind of like learned it, like through the school of hard knocks, as they say, and they are trying to monetize that. So that becomes something that you can monetize. You can create cohort based courses on that.
Yes.
And so because creators are also now trying to find different ways to monetize, not just depend on advertisers, because advertisers are constantly looking for fresh faces and fresh kind of content.
Right.
Influencers are also trying to mooch free stuff off people. Okay.
What does that mean?
So my friend makes cakes, and every week she has one influencer call her and say, I need a cake for my son's birthday and all of that. I'll give you an Instagram story about it.
Ah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were having a comedy show, and we had a group of influencers who I'm not going to mention. They contacted us on Insta and said, we can come for the show, all 30 of us, and is a venue Instagrammable? And could you provide us with starters and martinis and stuff like that? And we'll give you Instagram stories.
Wow. So you're getting paid in Instagram stories then?
That is it. They're paying in Instagram stories.
This is exactly like that thing, now, which I think
That's
ad
the
agencies...
UPI.
Yeah,
What?
UPI. That's the UPI of Instagram stories. That's the UPI. But what I was coming to was
But
like
abhi freebie pe tax aa gaya hai, so I don't know how much this will
freebie
how-
pay tax.
हाँ, अभी
I'll talk about that actually. That's a very interesting point. But before that, I wanted to say that there was a point when ad agencies were doing this to people, where they would get like a creator to do something for them for the exposure.
Okay,
Or
I'm
like-
a freelancer. I've heard that line 400
it's like-
times.
so basically, it's the other way around now. Right, where the guy is like, हाँ मैं अच्छा exposure मैं देगा तेरे को exposure ले story. I mean that's what is happening
Yeah.
basically. So that is what I was coming to after this, which is so Kajol, for example, you can either get paid by a brand
Yeah.
to put out their shit, right? But now what brands are also sort of doing is like travel brands or whatever it is.
barter.
Barter. So it's basically they will say that, oh, for a week you can stay at my hotel, which जिसका cost आएगा कुछ 90,000
I
रुपए.
hate that, man. I hate those fuckers. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah,
word?
yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Please,
I
go
hate
ahead.
those fuckers staying in those hotels, making reels about it, where I have to look at them having fun. I'm not going to that hotel.
But 90,000 रुपए तो देगा. Right, now you will be like, but मेरा तो rate इससे ज़्यादा है. Like I charge like more than that. Like say staying there 7 days, doing your Instagram stories, I can get like whatever 9 lakh rupees because you're a popular Instagram influencer, as we all know. And then what you will do is, what will you add on top of it? So now they'll give you a phone to do the Instagram.
Ah.
Right. So then they'll give you like a nice iPhone, whatever, right? Or to this package deal. Then you'll go. Right. So now the government has noticed this. Now you go on.
Yeah. So now the government has noticed this. So now gifts will have tax on them. I'm not although sure how this kind of plays out.
Measuring कैसे होगा?
Yeah, in paperwork and all of that. So that's
Suppose
a
I
story
go
for a
to-
few months down.
Suppose
to
I
see
go to
how
a
this is
hotel in
being-
Maldives and just stay there because then they don't bill me for it. Then
Yeah. Or they can bill you for it. You don't have to pay. Like, how will they know?
I think the implementation of this and how that is sort of like being carried forward and how this is being navigated, that is something that we need to look at in a few months from now because
Yeah.
it just started. So
It started in May, right? I think the notification came in May
May,
or
June,
something.
yeah.
So they're going to charge 10% tax on gifts and freebies. I don't know what
the
they
same.
call it. Yeah.
Gifts.
But exactly, how will they measure it? Plus, I think this barter system is okay. Why not? It's
I
a
mean,
mutually beneficial relationship there.
barter system can happen. I'm just saying, you are looking at an influencer who's having the time of his life, living free or somebody else's expense. Don't you feel a bit like, why? Why should I buy your resort stay or whatever because I'm watching someone else have fun?
It's also you get content.
I think for me, barter is interesting because you also sometimes think, okay, there's not too much at stake for you. If you've taken money from someone to promote them, you will do. I'm assuming you'll do some due diligence because you'll feel more responsible because मैंने पैसा लिया है ये बोलने के लिए.
Sure.
So therefore, maybe it's just easier to do barter because there's not much at stake because it's not like you've given me any money, so I don't owe you anything.
Interesting.
But it's like restaurant critics, na. If you give them free food, then isn't that influencing what they say?
Sure, but then the restaurant, if you want a restaurant critic to come and review your food, unlikely that you will charge them anyway.
I'd say
But they're supposed to pay. I mean, ethically, I think restaurant critics insist on paying.
so. Actual critics will go and pay for the food that they are, consuming.
Because then they'll do it secretly.
Yeah, they
Right.
do it. That's why I said, right? That's why. So, like I said, yeah, every time I am approached by these people, I just say no because I'm getting paid in salary from an organization
Right.
and it's a full-time job. But if I am a freelance journalist who is building a brand as a standalone journalist on social media,
Sure.
then I'll just be honest about these associations. But maybe I'll do it because then that also becomes my business model, right? I have to sustain myself to do the work that I'm doing.
That's true.
What happens with barters, I feel, is that if you don't like your stay, maybe you can be critical. If you've taken money from them, I'm not sure if you'll be critical of the things that you didn't like about that stay.
Interesting. So, in a way, you're saying that the hotel is saying you come and you try us out.
Yeah.
If you like us, if
Yeah.
you think that we have Instagrammable things around, then you can do it. Otherwise, there is no pressure.
But they are going to give you special treatment, right? when
I
you
mean,
go
see,
there.
I am.
Of course, they will.
I don't know how it works. You probably would know this better, but I would think that the chances of you giving an honest review are higher if it's a barter than if you've been paid to kind of do
I
this.
would agree with that.
I've never seen an honest review from an influencer. I mean,
That's an interesting thing altogether.
Why haven't you
I've
seen
never
an
seen
on-
an influencer go to a hotel and be like, and then the food was not so great. Not seen that.
I have done that a few times.
But you're not an influencer.
I am an influencer.
No, you've not made a reel with you
Yeah,
removing
just
your
you've got
bikini
just
and
two
wandering the
inquiries,
sea.
Meghnad. I'm
Listen.
not sure that qualifies.
No, listen. Okay, so my definition of influencer here is someone who can influence. No, but someone who has a giant following
Yeah.
and is trusted and likable.
Yeah.
Right. Step 2 is selling products, which I don't
Meghnad,
get only,
Meghnad.
like, but
As a journo and as a political analyst, you try going to a resort and then putting up that reel. You'll get flayed on social media.
that's also true.
I want to see him try. Now I just really want to see him
That's
try.
also very true.
I'll join that gang who's playing you. I'll be like, oh, who's sponsoring this? Huh?
But I have given bad movie reviews. I have given bad food reviews. I have said that this restaurant is not
Now
worth
this is
trying.
the real reason he has only got 2 queries.
Exactly.
मतलब ले ही लो केस मेरा.
See, that
You walked right into it. What am I to do?
what you're talking about is not really a review. If let's say ITC calls me and says I want you to come and sample our buffet, then I'll be going there. I'll have someone taking a video of me walking into ITC and sitting down,
Sure,
and then I'll be
sure.
then I won't be like, hey, it's not too good.
Yeah.
I've not seen anyone do it.
But like I get what you mean, right? An influencer, again, we went back to the point where we started from in a way, where how much can you trust the influencer and how much can they also return that to you?
Correct.
Like the audience, right?
Okay.
Where if you have trusted an influencer with whatever they're doing, dancing, joking, making reels, etc., you have imposed their trust on them. The influencer also sort of owes it to you to also like recommend good things that will not really actively
Sure.
harm you, I guess.
Yeah.
Or like, are not trying to con you about this, like these courses which you just mentioned, like become an influencer, become effective, become, these are all manosphere courses, which basically all these fancy, how can I put it, gym bros do it. They are the ones who are like basically they want you to motivation market, right?
Okay.
Which is like this huffy puffy gym bros coming and telling you how to live life. They will do courses. They will not only do like nutrition thing, but they will also tell you how to have a
It's so
positive
funny,
mind,
even your
etc.
therapist doesn't tell you how to live life, but
Yeah.
But they will charge you for these courses. So in a way, they have gathered this giant audience, and now they are literally selling them snake oil.
Of course.
Yeah. So and that is, I think, where the influencer word gets its bad name.
correct.
That is why when we started off, you're like, I'm not an influencer.
But I'm not. Okay, I'll tell you why. Because I've seen umpteen comedians who are comedians. And the whole idea of being a comedian is you're talking truth to power, you're talking honesty. All of those tags are there, no?
Yes.
And then if you come and say, this Domino's pizza is whatever, amazing or whatever. I don't find a fit. I'm like,
It's a
this
bit
is
jarring.
fake.
It
This is
feels
fake.
a bit jarring.
It feels a bit jarring. That's
Yeah.
true. So
Huh.
it sounds fake or it looks fake. Right?
Yes.
That's true. Interesting. So comedians can't sell products then?
It's not going with a brand image.
I think some people do it well though, and therefore they make it fun. Like I know Danish Seth has always been sort of spoken about how he does his brand collaborations. He makes it like it's very satirical even then. Like he also spins it and makes it so meta that I have to do this for money. And
No, that all of them are saying.
okay, now they're all saying
Because
that.
they all got booted out on social media when they came just with the ad.
Yeah.
It's like self-aware advertising.
Yeah, it's self-aware ads.
No, it's like don't kick me,
self-aware is-
don't kick me ads.
Yeah.
I have to do it for the money.
Yeah. Even Mala of Marules, there's this page on Instagram which I really like. You should follow. He also does very clever brand
Yeah.
placement, and now he just does brand placement. Sadly.
That escalated
yeah,
quickly.
I mean, there was a point where he was doing great reels and very amazing. Now he just does brands,
Yeah.
which is sad. I mean, like,
Basically, he
content
couldn't
creator ko maar
sustain
diya.
himself or herself on just laughter and likes alone, right? Usko paisa chahiye.
But I mean, yeah, true. I mean, I get it. It's a business after all. For
But I
him
guess,
now.
like you said, right? I think it's a very kosher point where you feel that you're put off by somebody who's actually doing something else in a regular, their internet life, but suddenly comes and is like selling you
Yeah.
Domino's pizza.
Yeah.
I think that is pretty much what a lot of these creators are able to sense now, and which is why they are figuring out different ways to make money. And one of them could be a course, and in some cases, because you have a lot of these specialized content creators that have come up in finance, in law, in medical.
Finfluencers.
Yeah, so I think for them it actually does make sense because they are, quote unquote experts in a field. So
Yeah.
But one second, I've seen a lawyer woman who dances and points.
Points. Oh,
I-
pointy
pointing,
people.
Pointing.
Yes.
Should we stop?
Yeah. Oh, I call them pointy dancer people or whatever. I can call them whatever.
If there was ever a good excuse to cut off people's fingers, it's this. Okay. No, I mean, just cut them off.
You will not believe this. So I was one of those people who was like, मेरे को रील बनाना आता नहीं है. Yeah, मेरे को Instagram समझ में ही नहीं आता. I can't do this. I'm a Twitter person. I'm very elite. Okay. And then at one point I was like, why do I do this? Like I can do reels. Like what is so hard in it? So I tried. I did it. I have done a few reels and they've done okay. They've done well. it's very fascinating, but whenever I went to a creator, a real person or whoever ki Instagram use kaise karna hai, reel kaise banana hai, they give me this tip. Oh, it's easy. You point here, you point here, and you point here. You put 4 things either. That's a reel. I'm like, that's so garbage.
No, that's bhangra.
Meghnad, you are doing reels which are political. Like one was on the Shiv Sena government.
Yes.
Now you didn't do like the Shiv Sena has come to power, and I was watching that while eating this amazing vada pav from. You don't diversify into that. They are not an influence.
No,
Though I
but
like
the
to
day-
see it if
I'm
you're
telling
doing
you,
it. I
the
wanna
day will come when, and Instagram, I think it already has that in the US. यहाँ पे भी आ जाएगा, where like they will be able to click on that reel and then buy the vada pav directly from Chayos or Dunzo or whatever.
Acha, okay, so we have to end this, guys. This has been an excellent discussion. I would like to ask you, Kajol, how your experience was and what did you learn?
I learned that I'm not an influencer, and I'm damn happy that way.
Shephali, I hope you had a great time.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
And as far as my learning goes, I have learned about how I don't get brand deals and why I don't get them.
I was going to say,
Yeah, I
if
was
you would have
like,
asked me for takeaways, I was like, somebody who has like, I don't know, 1/10 Meghnad's followers gets 10 times more queries.
You brand, I'm talking to you. This show is open for brands and advertisements. So बीच में जो हमने जो रोका था ना, stop the podcast, that is where you will come in. So please come. हमको भी influencer बना दो.
I think Meghnad, you should try, using some nightly regime creams and all that.
Of course.
You do justice to your brand
Of
promotion.
course. While I'm talking to Shephali, I would like open up like this beard oil. Yes, this is amazing. Amazing. So, no. But thank you so much for watching. This was ELI10. Thank you so much, Kajol. Thank you so
Anytime.
much, Shephali. I hope you guys had fun.
We had a lot of
I'll
fun.
see you in the next episode.